Hi everyone, a very good afternoon to all of you. We are back with Insta Live series and I'm Suman Agarwal. We are on Spotlight with Suman. Today's guest is a very special person, very close to my heart. Somebody whom I have personally trained in Pune. She belongs to Pune city. And she's a certified image consultant from ICBI, a communication management consultant, a wardrobe and grooming strategist, as well as global etiquette and protocol coach. She is Deepti Dange, a very senior image consultant from Pune city. So I'll wait for Deepti's request and we'll get started post that. Hi everybody. Deepti, you need to send in a request.
Hi, Suman.
Hi,
How are you? Am I too much in the camera?
can you see
Sorry,
me
that's my very
clearly?
first.
Can you hear me loudly?
I can. Can you hear me?
I can see you very clearly and I can hear you also very loudly.
You can hear me as well. Okay, all right.
Thank God
So
our internet connections are aligned today.
yes, mine especially.
Yeah. So I hope and fingers crossed that nothing goes wrong with this Insta live today.
I hope so.
So how are things in Pune in terms of lockdown?
It's a little crazy. I think there are a lot of areas where there is still a lot of barricade and there are red zones. But I think around my area, it's still pretty okay. Like people are still roaming around as if nothing really happened ever.
That becomes the biggest problem, no? Yeah. So I think the internet has started giving us little trouble.
Yes, I think we said it too early
I
that it
think
is not giving us.
from your side, I think there is some internet glitch.
Okay. I'm just switching to my Wi-Fi. I just hope it just gets managed. Can you hear me now?
Yeah. I can hear you. Are you there?
Can you hear me, Suman?
Yeah. So in between, you're going on and off.
Oops. Okay, so let's see. But now is it clear? So then I won't touch it. Is it better than before?
Yeah, I can hear you, but I can't. I mean, your video is paused for some reason. Fix it from your side. Okay, so I think we've lost Dipti, and I think she should be joining in shortly. There is some sort of an internet glitch in Pune.
Hi, I'm back.
Yes,
Sorry.
we are back. Yes. So this is little better
Better?
now. I hope so.
Great. No,
Fingers
so it's also
crossed.
because we're expecting rains. Yeah, fingers crossed. We're also expecting a lot of rain. So I think it's just going to keep playing up.
Yeah, so let's finish the live before the rain starts.
Yes, absolutely.
So my first question to you is that what is keeping you busy during the lockdown?
It's funny, Suman, because when the lockdown just suddenly pounced upon all of us, I had a lot of personal issues also actually, and I was not really sure, and I'm being very candid because it's you. So the thing was, I was thinking, oh God, now trainings are not going to happen, and how things are going to be. But when I look back right now, my calendar is so choco block that I mean, right now I have goosebumps even saying this that I have never worked so much as much I've worked from home And I was also talking to a couple of our consultants where we were just discussing something, and I said that it is so interesting because now I don't really have to go anywhere. I have to just dress up at home, dress down at home, and work. So much time is getting saved in terms of going somewhere, traveling. So I think I just think in a way for us as consultants, it's a blessing that
So you give us the credit for that, right?
Absolutely, absolutely.
And what kind of see you've come a long way, and I know you since almost 10 years now.
I think you're the first person who knows me. Anybody who knows me for 10 years, I think you're the person who knows me the most.
Yes, absolutely. So it's been 10 years. So I would like to know from you that what kind of personal transformation have you experienced in last 10 years? I mean, I know personally that what is the kind of transformation I have seen in front of my eyes. But I would like all the other people also to know and understand and believe the fact that this has actually happened.
Right. So, thanks for asking that, Suman. And like I said, I had goosebumps, but I'm also overwhelmed that we are doing this. So I am somebody who has like a very strong memory. And funny enough, I just tell everyone I have an elephant's memory. So earlier it was the size and now it's the memory also. So, having said that, I still remember, and today being the 1st of June, I think it was the 1st of August 2010, when Mr. Agarwal and you had held that, discussion at La Meridian in Pune. And I still remember what you were wearing, like that achromatic, skirt and top, and everything is so crystal clear, like it just happened 2 days back. And so, I mean, this is not something that we planned, but on my desk, I have this picture. If you want me to show you, I think I can just talk about this for everyone. So that's where I started. And I always keep this in front of my eyes forever. So, that's like the physical transformation that I've gone through, like from what I was to what I am. And I think I was this, I would say I was more of a tomboy because of the kind of bullying that I went. So I knew that, inside I always had this instinct and I could do it. I was a very studious kid, but somewhere I feel now that, I became studious because of the things that people said, and to battle that out and, as a kid to show them that I was good enough, I think I excelled in studies. But maybe always secretly my heart was in a lot of creative things, and the kind of background that I come from, the stereotype. So my father's an engineer, my sister turned out to be a doctor, and everyone told my dad that look at her as the son of the family and she should hand over your business. And I was like, no, that's not happening. So I think I had to really go through so many challenges because I was moved out of my house at 16. So at 16, I've left Delhi. I grew up in Delhi, and then I moved to Pune, and I never wanted to come here. And now I'm very happy that I came here. But there are a lot of these pilots that I have done in my life as a transformation, and I think everywhere I have just felt that I was pushed. Everywhere I have just been pushed into like a deep pit, and there have been these ups and downs for me personally, where whether, and I think a lot of people think that at 10 years of image management, you are up there, somewhere that you've reached a particular level. But in the last 5 years or so, there have been so many ups and downs, and I don't discuss it with anybody. So probably, everybody feels that everything is hunky dory and, it's a very rosy world. But I mean, on personal, professional fronts, and, like I like to believe, and that I'm very funny that way, though I don't come across like that. But I just have. That's what I'm saying. So I know all the time. So I keep myself also encouraged sometimes, with those things, because so coming from Delhi and then moving to Pune, and then I got married, as you know, and moved to Nagpur. So, one fine day I was sitting and thinking, where is life going really? I'm just getting pulled backwards from the word go. And then I just read somewhere, and it made so much sense to me that, life for me was like a catapult. So the further you're held back, the further you're going to go. And then that's when I decided that, okay, enough is enough. And, I still, so again, talking about the transformation, I still remember we were traveling in this sub in New York, all of us. And then Judith was there, you were there. And I think Judith Graham was also there. And we were going from our hotel to, I think we were going to Times Square. I'm not pretty sure where we were going. And that is where she mentioned to you, very, very, I don't know, discreetly, but I was probably close enough. And I overheard her saying that remove her sports shoes, just get rid of her sports shoes. And I was like, yeah, I have to. I mean, there was this such strong, fear that I had that I don't want her to think of me as a consultant who's in sports shoes. But yes, I knew that there was going to be a setback when I come back. I was, not working. So though I know that I wanted to, I was operated, and then I had another 5 6 months of setback. But I think yeah, that's been a journey. And I think the more we look at physical, I know everybody looks at the physical, but I think on a personal level, I have become emotionally much stronger. And I think the way I deal with people around me or the way I deal with myself, I think one thing that I have learned to do is accept myself as I am. So I'm sorry I'm sounding very, very overwhelmed, but this is something that is, very close to my heart, which only a few people know. So not a lot of people even know that I ever talk about all of this. But yes, and I give due credit. I mean, to Judith, to you, to the institute. I think if this didn't happen in my life, I would have probably been, one of those very strong, bossy, perceived leaders at work, because that was my perception at office, and I never knew why it was what it was. I just knew that clothes were important, and I used to be this one, manager in office who used to keep, reprimanding everybody for not wearing formals without obviously technically knowing why I was doing it. But I give full credit for what I am today. I think too much gratitude.
So in terms of physical transformation, also you have personally gone through a lot of challenge
I
as
have,
well as
yes,
accomplishment. So
I have both.
what is the kind of feeling that you have at this point of time? I mean, I know you're overwhelmed with that thought also, but then are you like feeling positive about the whole idea of that journey of transformation that you have gone through?
Absolutely. I think it is very encouraging for me. And then even now, when people look at it, I think I'm just coming to terms with my own self now. So I think it is still, very encouraging when people look at my posts or when they, see my before and after, and they're like, oh my God, how have you done this? But I was not someone who really did it for the size of it, but it was, something that happened. So a lot of people think that I lost weight to look like an image consultant, but that was not really the reason. So I had two reasons, and again, I would like to share it. You have a lot of followers, so I think it will be a little breath of fresh air for a lot of them. So one was in 2011, as soon as we came back from the US, I had a foot surgery, and that is when the doctors had told me that no more can you wear these closed shoes, and you have to get
I
shoes made.
remember.
And yeah. So that was the reason I was wearing these wide sneakers all throughout US. And they told me that you can't wear anything pointed, you cannot wear heels, and you cannot wear flats. And I was sitting in this doctor's clinic, and I was like, what do you want me to wear? Like, seriously, I mean, I can't wear sports shoes to work. So he just told me, do you want to stand and do you want to walk, and or do you want to look good? I said, well, looking good is a part of my career now, so I don't think I'm going to not play with that. So I did, do everything that I could, and I got back within 5 months, and I started working out. And because he did tell me that because of weight, the condition of my feet will come back. So then I said, okay, so let's start battling that first. And then that's when I started getting healthier, and did exercise and a lot of yo-yoing, of course, between what to eat, what not to eat. And yeah, I was back wearing my matching shoes with all of my outfits. Though again, another thing that I have gone through is that I had a stitch abscess from this surgery, and that lasted me for 5 years. Okay, and it was like this big boil on my toe, because of which I couldn't really wear shoes. But I have gone through 4 years of training at ICB and otherwise, with that pus, throbbing my feet, but I've still stood 8 hours. I think that is what Sham sir said the other day also, when he said that. I think he knows about it. I'm not very sure. And I think that was for me, something that I never thought I could do. Like, I'm not somebody, I would cringe like with the sight of blood, or with somebody's little bit of pain. I'm somebody who cringes like the first thing. But I went through all of that, and then eventually, 5 years back, I got that operated again. So I think a lot of that has happened in terms of physical, health and fitness. So that was one, that I had a surgery. And my second reason, why I battled the whole weight kind of, was because I still remember 20 years ago when I was in college, I was this very dud looking, kid, because I was still bigger than any other kid in college. And we used to not find clothes for somebody as big as me. So, whatever you find, and I have gone ahead and I've bought shirts from the men's section, I've bought trousers from the men's section, and I've worn all of that. Still, the funny part is I would sit outside college and watch what other people were wearing. And, think in my head why this is not working, why that is not working, with, who's wearing a matching bag or whatever. But I knew that, my biggest body image or my biggest challenge with my own acceptance was that why can't I find clothes for me? So I think today I'm at a safe place where I can at least find clothes. So my biggest reason for losing a little bit of weight, I won't say I've lost it all, but little bit of weight was to at least find some clothes that were talking about who I am, not from the size perspective at all. Yeah.
Absolutely. So what is your specialization and what kind of clients do you mostly work with?
So in the last 10 years, I would say barring a few streams, there isn't really any background that I may have not worked with. But I love working with clients one-to-one in terms. Can you hear
Yeah, I
me?
think we're losing you in. Your internet is again weak.
Lost me?
Yeah, now you can give the answer because we lost you in between.
Oh, sorry. Can you hear me now? Is it better?
Yes, yes.
So I was saying that so I like to work with people on a one-to-one basis where they come to me for any transformation. I do work a lot with people who come for voice, people who come from the corporate for a one-to-one as well, and then there are a lot of people who I work with for personal shopping and styling. So this is one area that I like to work, and the other one is a lot of corporate engagements where I do workshops, so like a 1 or 2 day workshop. I personally prefer to, kind of work only in the line of image. So I do work around, the way they dress, their body image, their body language, and etiquette. And dining etiquette and makeup and grooming is another thing that I specialize in, apart from styling and clothes.
All right. So what has changed in last 10 years in terms of work culture? I mean, we know that, trends keep changing and even now this is like the new normal that we are experiencing. So in last 10 years, have you seen any kind of change in trend in terms of work culture?
So I feel that a blessing that has come in is technology. Like I think while I started, or even when ICBI started, I couldn't have imagined us doing this at all. Like if a COVID had hit us then, from a work culture perspective, I think everything would have just shut. There wouldn't have been like a lot of Zoom, and people would have not come out and appreciated technology. So I think that is one. Second, people have started also understanding, I think, the importance of their presence. That I see a lot, especially in a town like my own, where I see back in the 2010 months, people were not really aware of why is it important. And I used to have my own employees coming and arguing with me, or they were not really that inclined towards promotions. And the minute you tell them that you have to dress up to work, but I see that changing a little bit now that there is a little bit of awareness in terms of how their appearance or the way they look totally, or they create an impression also affects their KPIs. I think overall in every field I have seen a tremendous growth of the importance of the way they appear. So I think it's a great thing, including technology. And a lot of us, I think, are also working in terms of creating online platforms, not just Zoom, but online apps and things like that. And recently, just today, I saw this whole phase. Can you hear me, Suman? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Could you hear me, or you lost me again?
Now I can hear you clearly. In between, we lost you. So whatever you were saying towards the end, we lost you for a moment.
So I was saying that just this morning, from how work culture or how things have grown, a lot of us might have seen this Facebook avatars, that have suddenly come up, which I don't think would have come, back 10 years ago, where it's all still about appearance. So just for looking at how it worked, I went on it today, and I see it's only about the person's appearance, like the face and the eyebrows and the lips and the clothes. So I think that that's a huge shift in terms of how people focus now on the way they look, and all of these social media apps in terms of presence. Yeah.
Absolutely. So there are a lot of people who keep asking us that, what are the traits of becoming an image consultant, and, how does one image consultant look like, and what are the characteristics, what qualities should one have? So according to you, what are the five most important traits that an image consultant definitely should have if they want to really be successful in this profession?
My answer will be a little elaborate. Is that okay?
Yes,
With the
yes,
experience
please.
of 10 years of seeing so many people. So I feel that the first and foremost is the knowledge that they need to have. Like either they get themselves technically sound from an institute like ourselves or from wherever, but they need to have knowledge with which they can actually talk to people. Like I know of a lot of people who've come across saying I'm a stylist or I'm a soft skills trainer, but when you actually listen to them, there is actually no matter. So knowledge to me would be the first thing. I know the cliched answer is passion, but I didn't want to put that first because I think I could still have passion, but if I don't have knowledge, I will still fail in that particular field. So my number two will be passion. But with passion, I think compassion also is very important. Whether it is to my colleagues in the industry or it is towards my clients, I think compassion will just become the utmost important skill alongside all other people's skills of showing them empathy or not being insecure. Another thing that I have seen, like insecurity is vast in every profession. I think one thing that we need to keep in mind is everybody will get their due share. So like I said, the more I got pulled back in my own career also, the more opportunities kept coming in the the forthcoming days. So if we don't think of what's not going to happen and having a positive mind, so that's another thing that I think is very important. Again, you should. Can you hear me? Do you hear me now? Suman, can you hear me? Apparently, both my hotspot and Wi-Fi have decided to just keep playing.
Yeah, I think today is a little tough day.
Sorry.
So what was the last point that you were mentioning?
Didn't say anything because I realized it got stuck. So the last point that I said is one, being not insecure, second, being more positive, and the third thing that I feel is being open to sharing knowledge and being open to helping everybody who's around you. So I think that not being open to helping other people is where insecurity stems from. And I personally believe that the more people that I can help, um, in some way or the other, something good will come my way. But I don't work because of that goodwill. But generally, I feel that should be important. And lastly, yes, I think the appearance of an image consultant, to even say that I'm an image consultant, will be important. But always in the last 5 to 6 years of what I have seen, I have advised people not to have a stereotype of an image consultant. Typically wearing a matched jacket and a trouser and have a pose and then not match it when people actually meet you in person. So being true, or I don't want to use our technical terms, but being who you are and being in your skin and being comfortable and still being very professional and friendly, I think would be the key areas that an image consultant needs to have. Like not
Okay,
become
so
friends.
talking about the key areas of an image consultant, your one of the specialization is also color.
Okay.
So I would like to learn from you that what are the three ways, I mean, I'm sure our audience would also like to know, and they would be interested in knowing that what are the three ways by which you can wear color and look attractive.
So
one thing, tips, not very technical jargon, very basic tips.
Yeah. So I think the first thing is to be open to wearing color, because I have seen a lot of people, the minute you tell them you should wear more color, they are completely closed to the idea that no, I can't wear so much color. The second one is the quantity. Choose the right quantity. And, for example, what I'm doing right now, I'm glad I wore this so I could even talk about it. So like if you want to wear something that's very black and white and if that's your style, even if you include accessories in the smallest quantities here and there, so maybe it's your earring, it's your neck piece, it could be a bag or a belt or a shoe. depending on, of course, how you carry the entire thing. And I think the third, and something that's very close to me again in terms of my personal presence, is putting a little bit of color on your face. A lot of typically a lot of Indian men and women would have dark circles, and they look tired and dull throughout the day. So if they all learn how to bring in a little bit of color on their face, around is one thing, but on their face, through the help of, especially with women, so if you give them a little bit of lip color and a light wash of color, the same lip color could become a blush color for you, and fill your eyebrows. To me, these three things can change so much in terms of your appearance by adding a little bit of color. Nothing technical, but just this much, and I think someone's appearance can go from one to a higher level.
I think just to add to this, I would like to say, because I am not a person who wears too much of accessories because I have a neck problem, and so I always like to wear something which is very bright. So that always lifts the look instantly. I mean, you wear a bright color and then you suddenly feel that you are dressed. You feel dressy.
Right.
Automatically you feel that you have dressed up. So that bright color itself gives you that feeling that you have worn something special, and which is, not the normal usual self. And just match the same color with your lip color, and I think that's you're sorted for the day. So I think certain things which are very simple but very easy to implement, I think most of us can do that, right?
Right. Absolutely.
Okay,
and again,
so next question. Yes.
Sorry. No, I was saying, considering people may be alike. So like you said, you have a physical issue with the neck, so you don't want to wear a neck piece. And again, for me, I may not want, so I am somebody who's evolved to wearing a lot of color from the time that I started, and now I'm just colorful all the time. But again, talking about, again, viewers, not everybody would still wear a lot of color. So I think what, you said is also perfect, that if you can wear, brighter tops around your face, that's a perfect suggestion again.
Absolutely. So I think you can definitely look more dressier with, these kind of tips and these kind of tricks. It's not about what you wear, but how you wear. That's the most important thing. Right? So what, according to you, is the most important thing? Being stylish or being fashionable?
Okay, that's a tricky question. However, I think it's good to know what is in fashion, and I, more than being stylish or more than being, again, fashionable, like I said, so more important to me personally is to know what is in fashion or what is in trend, but also to know how I will look in that particular trend. So what is my style and what makes me comfortable in that particular style? So every style today in the market may not be for me. It may not be for my age. It may not be for, the role that I play. So I think it is more important to me to adopt a style that is actually me, that actually talks about who I am. And if I've worn it, I think, in the right manner, or like you rightly said, more than what, the how. If I know the how to wear it, then I think automatically people see you as stylish, or somebody who has, an innate ability of style.
Absolutely. So share with us an exciting client experience which is very close to your heart, Deepti.
I will share something that's very current. Yeah. So again, during this lockdown, again, like most people, I was pretty negative that, one-to-one, nobody's going to come. Who's going to do an online one-to-one? But I actually worked with this lady who was, I think, about 28, 29 years old. And she's from the army, and she works as a medical professional in the AFMC hospital here. And she came to me, and the way she sounded on the phone, I thought it was somebody who's like 40 plus. And she just continuously, kept talking and saying, I have to start now, I have to start now. And I said, yeah, fine, but are you okay to start online? And she said, yeah, because of the quarantine, this is the only time I have. So I did explain to her that, if we are looking at buying you clothes, it's not going to happen. She said, no, I don't want that, but I want to change the way I communicate, because a lot of people at work don't like me. And I can sense it. Like, they just keep me away from the crowd. I'm not from here. And that lady is a South Indian. So she comes from Kerala. And she's been posted here. And over a period of time, so I did a few sessions with her. And last session was pending because she was on COVID duty for 15 days. She has a 2-year-old son. And with me, what happens is I get to a level where I am in a very friendly conversation with all of my clients, where they can, if they have an issue, because I work a lot with their, their self and how they think about themselves and what is it. So She has a 2-year-old son. Stressed when she had this COVID duty. She was consultation, and it was very basic things that she wanted me to help her with, as to how should I study while my son is constantly disturbing me and my husband. So goal setting or all of these basic things. And I think you've lost me again.
No, I think we are good to go now. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So then she wanted basic things like how do I handle my child, and my husband who thinks giving my child everything is okay. But because he is a civilian and I am in the army, I want to discipline him. And because I discipline him, I come across as the more aggressive parent. So even my domestic servant thinks I'm more aggressive, and with, sir, it's all okay. So, these were like very trivial issues that we think in day-to-day life. But somebody who was actually consulting me to know how basically was to get out of her aggressive communication style, whether it was in her body language or with the choice of words. But eventually, when we actually started doing her sessions, Suman, it figured that she was getting influenced, like her style of talking or the way she was behaving was influenced with, one, how she was compared to her siblings as a kid. And the second thing was how she saw her own mother going from a housewife to, I think, a businesswoman or a job oriented lady, and how her own parents' relationship changed. And from loving her mother, she went into this person who used to absolutely detest her mother because she thought that she was very ambitious. And she didn't look at the kids and things like that. So there were so many complexities of the mind that she had. And when she understood all of that, and when I spoke to her about letting go and forgiving her mom, and it was in the best of interest of the family, she really understood. And now came the time when she had to literally let go of her own son for 15 days of COVID duty, followed by 15 days of quarantine at the hospital. So we had that 1 month gap, and it was challenging for her because he had never lived without her, and she was very jittery. And I saw this very soft side of her where she was so emotional that I don't know what will happen. Will he recognize me when I come back? And things like that, that typically as a parent she would feel. And now it just happened. Sunday we concluded her sessions last Sunday. And she called me on Monday evening. She actually sent me a voice note. So on the call, she told me that, it was so good to, do these sessions with you. But I think the biggest thing that I've learned is to fall in love with myself. And that was so special to me because this was one lady. The first discussion I had with her was to ask her, does she even like herself? And the last thing that she told me is that, I have fallen in love with me. So I think now I can handle everything. And I think that is so important to me. But unfortunately, on Monday, she got a call, and for emergency posting, she's been posted to Delhi. So this morning, they must have been air evacuated, all of them. And again, she's gone. So she sent me that voice note saying, I have to leave, and I'm in that phase again now for a month, or I don't know how long they are going to post us there. But this time, I am assuring you that I can handle it. I'm not thinking anything negative like the last time. So I think that was such a good feeling for me that I could make that kind of a difference in someone's personal life more than just professional.
Fantastic. So Deepti, you have undergone the entire image training, and you were there as one of my students in the initial stage. So I would like to understand from you that what has been your most special and most preferred subject in the image consulting space? I mean, what is something which is very close to your heart?
I think that is something that you know already, but and a lot of people think it's color, but for me personally, it has always been cluster, or how to put things together. I think even like I said from the beginning, I had this creative side to me, so I could put things together, even if I couldn't explain. And I categorically remember while we were in the US also, I had put this randomly. Judith gave me some piece, and I had put it together. And because I was super excited, and I think compared to the other people who came along with us, I was much more fresher, and I was doing a job, and so many things. So technically, I would say today that I knew nothing. Nothing means absolutely nothing. And I remember telling other people around me that, fill my form before Judith comes and asks for it, because I don't know how to write this. I can just put things together. But then when she came and she saw, and she was like, oh, this is great. And she had asked me to put, I think, 6 things together. And I'd actually gone, my overexcitement made me do like a 12-piece sort of a cluster. And she didn't pick out any piece that didn't work. The only thing that she told me is, buck up and get, good with technical knowledge, because you'll have to start explaining the why to people. And I think that is what I started working on. But why I like cluster personally, Suman, is because it puts a person's personal style and color, which I think a lot of people think is a strength for me, together, in shape and a lot of other things. So because it puts everything together, I think helping people or clustering their clothes or helping them find options is something that is very close to me.
Clothes which are put together. So a group of clothes which are put together, which has more variety and more versatility. So by adding the group of clothes together and identifying a very core piece, which is an inspirational piece, and then putting clothes together, that is known as cluster. So that is one of the topics in image consulting. Great.
Right.
So you are a very senior trainer in ICBI, and what is the difference that you experience in the enthusiasm levels of the learners of today as compared to the learners when you were a learner yourself?
Oh, I think that's very easy to answer. I think the energy and the amount of knowledge that the learners of today have, because obviously they have more exposure and they've got a lot of facility from the internet. So I think they are very, very open to learning and making combinations, and they have such exciting questions, which I think back in the days, and if I think of myself as a learner, and obviously you were the trainer, so you would know that I mean, I would not speak as much as I would absorb. So, cross questioning or figuring out or saying that no, but I have seen something like this on the internet never happened in the past, like 10 years back. But now I think that option is available to our students. And I'm saying that from a very positive perspective, because even to the trainer sometimes, it gives me a good learning that, oh, this can also be like that. So I think they are very, very enthusiastic, and they are, I think, even more achievement oriented and go getters than what we were. I think for us, there was always this fear of, I don't know, where are we headed, and, who's going to help us, and are we going to get work? But I think because of the awareness and the way they see everybody working right now, I think they are tremendously, I mean, I'm not saying nobody's talented, but these
Can you hear me?
Yes, I'm there. I'm there.
Okay. Okay, my question now, this is a little out of context, although this is very much in the context of image consulting and image management, is that what do you think? I mean, image consulting, I mean, most people think that this is a superficial gloss. So what is your perspective about image consulting, and how has it helped people establish self-love for themselves?
So I know of a lot of people who have even come to me and said that, ye to just upar ka hi hai, you will tell me how to dress today, but what happens to me tomorrow? But again, my own methodology of application on self versus what I also have been talking to people is that it is not just something that we do on the outside. That is just a projection on the outside of what or who we are on the inside. So if, like I said, for my own example, if I wasn't happy with myself, I was not finding any confidence to go out, talk to people, say what my problems were, or even to own up and say that I could actually start training or, make a business out of image consulting. So that was holding me back. And I think just finding, an outlet just by dressing well, because it's like an inside out change, like we talk about it. So I like to say more than like an inside out, I like to say what is on my body is on my mind, and what's on my mind is on my body all the time. So it's like a cycle, so one is always incomplete without the other. And the example that people who think it's superficial, I want to ask those people that, when it's your birthday, that day you definitely want to feel good, but you first thing you want to do is go and buy a new outfit. At that time you never think it's superficial, because you know that it is going to make you feel happy, and you will be, you look like you're somebody in a great mood. But my suggestion to everybody is, why can't my birthday be every day? Like, in terms of the feeling, we know what feelings we associate with the birthday. We feel good, and it's on the inside. Like we say, the way we appear affects the way we first think and feel, and then the way we act and behave, and then it, channelizes how other people react and respond to us. So I think it's a full cycle. It's not something that is superficial. At least to me, it's not superficial. So it is something that I have become holistically.
I think it has worked tremendously for everyone who has actually followed image management completely.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
360 degrees transformation, including me. I mean, I have undergone a complete transformation myself. So I feel that it is not just a solution oriented program, it is also very therapeutic.
Right.
You know, for most of us, it has been a solution to so many of our beliefs, so many of our issues which are related to self image, self worth, self love. All these issues get resolved because it's not about what, it's about why, because we get the answers of every why in our life. So
Absolutely.
you come in terms with yourself when you understand what image management is all about, because you need to know why you are doing certain things. There are certain actions. So you can list down 10 things about other person's life that, I mean, this person is not doing this for a particular reason. And I can list down that these are the problems. But you can't
Right.
really list down the problems which are happening in your life, your own self beliefs, which are there. I mean, there are a lot of times, there are a lot of situations when you would not know why you're doing certain things. So
True.
when you
Couldn't agree
understand the
more.
whys of your life, the hows and the whats become very easy to understand.
True.
And that is why it is imperative to understand that it is not a superficial gloss. Image management is very deep. It touches right inside and into your mind. So it
Totally.
helps you psychologically, it helps you physically, it helps you in every manner, emotionally as well.
I completely second that, Suman, because I think with every client or every student also, I have seen that psychological has always come before physical for most people.
Absolutely.
But the
Absolutely.
perception is that physical comes before psychological, or psychological does not occur. But you rightly said that it is always going to be the psychological and physical combination together, and it touches everyone that way.
Absolutely. So Deepti, what are the plans for the next 3 years from work perspective?
So there were a lot of plans which have kind of gone on hold because of the COVID situation, but I think they will start progressing gradually in terms of corporate work, one-to-one. Also, I'm in talking terms with somebody regarding a teachers training project. So interestingly, I just did a project for Kolhapur teachers. There were about 120 plus teachers, and I had to actually teach them how to use Google Classrooms, just the app. Then talking about their appearance on that Google Classroom. So I actually included the light and sound and how they should have all of these elements of visual and sound. Like it still is visual, vocal, verbal communication in a classroom, because the student today is very well versed with technology. So the
True.
image of the teacher. So then I am working on that project as well, and we are pitching to multiple schools because looks like online schooling is going to be the way ahead for at least for a few months. And a
Right.
lot of teachers in interior parts of India are also struggling with the way they appear or how they use the technology. So, it was interesting to even tell them that they could get a stand for their phone, or they could get a microphone, um, for the phone and get the volume better. So even these things like basic stuff, but it was very interesting for all of them. So those kind of projects are still in the pipeline. So it's all in all interesting.
So what's keeping you absolutely motivated, Deepti?
So I think right now I have reached at a stage, Suman, where I'm pretty motivated about thinking more positive rather than thinking, what will not happen. And I think I keep saying that to everyone, even with the ICBI students. I listen to one negative word and I just tell them what's going to happen. Think about that first.
Right.
Don't think about what's not going to happen, because I think when we start something new, obviously we all think, what if this doesn't work? What if that doesn't work? And this happened to me because when I got married and I went to Nagpur, I thought that's it. My life is over now. Kitchen is my life, and that's how it's going to be. And after all the work that I had done in terms of my health and fitness, and I am somebody who, if I see food or if I'm around food, then and if there's nothing else to do, it's going to become very challenging to stay away and not think of, okay, what. And I actually saw this happening, that from morning 9 to evening 7:38, I was just in the kitchen thinking, okay, what's next? What do I have to make next? What do I have to? And I was getting fed up of this thought myself. And, funny enough, I told my husband one day that, look, because he was overseas, and for people who don't know, so he works overseas. So I told him that either you call me on Skype for 8 hours and talk to me, because I am that kind of a person who talks for 8 hours, or let me go back and start working. So, and he is like it's always the opposites, right? So one person talks too much and the other person doesn't. So he is the opposite. So he just told me plain and simple, talk to my parents and just go back and just do whatever you have to do, because I can't talk to you for 8 hours. So that's how I started, but I still didn't give up. And I found out this, etiquette, wine academy actually in Nagpur, which was very less known back then. And I went and I had to make that shift. So I think everybody has to at least take that first step. So whether it was in Pune or whether it was in Nagpur, so I took that first step, even though I was a little hesitant because everybody told me it's very conservative, they will not give you the opportunity and things like that. I went and spoke to that person who was, holding this whole wine group. And surprisingly enough, when I spoke to him, they didn't ask me to join the club, but what they told me is, can you come and, be the master of ceremonies for our event, the annual event, because hardly any people and women, especially in Nagpur, speak English. So, or they have a command over English. I said, okay. And this last year was my 5th year in a row that, I was anchoring the wine festival in Nagpur, which is Central India's biggest wine festival, which is again put me, yeah, and it has put me in front of so many people from Nagpur. Like most people know me. And again, with my funny side, I keep telling my husband that people in Nagpur know all of you because of me. Like nobody knows me because I'm a part of the family, but most people, and that's the truth. Fortunately, unfortunately, that is the truth. A lot of people, because of the wine festival, know me. Like to an extent, they would come back and say, are you not there next year? Are you not coming next year? And it's such a good feeling that in a new city, you could create something like that, or, find a family for yourself. So I think taking that step is very important.
Great. So the last question to you is that one quick message that you would like to give to budding image consultants who are thinking of jumping into this profession of image consulting.
Like starting something new, starting
Yes.
it as a career. Okay, so I think I will sound like a broken record, but I would still say, if you put your mind to it, first of all, think about it, think very well, because if you are in a job, and I've said this to a lot of our students also who have been battling between a job and training, that if at all you are in a job and the money from the job is important to you, take your time, be in the course, gradually, kind of move away from your job. But being into a business or being into a freelancing profession is just like having your own child. Though I don't have my own, but I know how it feels like. So, there are going to be a lot of challenges that you will face. But I don't want anyone to feel that you'll have to struggle, because that's not necessary. And like I said, I've become this person who thinks positive. So I just feel that the more you keep telling yourself that, oh yes, I will have to struggle, oh yes, I will have to struggle, the more struggles will come your way. So if you think that it's a situation and, I will just get along with it, and I think there are a lot of people who are there to help. Like I think you have an army. I like to call it that way. So, we have an army in every city which kind of helps. So whether it's my own, center head, or all other center heads that I have met across India when I was training Pan India. So everybody is so helpful. You just feel like you can just go and ask for help to anybody. So everybody can help you start somewhere, right? It's just that you have to ask for that help. So if you're ready to take that first step, I think then, you'll be able to raise that baby seamlessly. And I think staying consistent, like I would say, don't give up. And if I have time, I don't know if I have time, but I have also been that person who left the job, and I just left it overnight saying, I don't want to do this because people are not giving me offs to attend my ICBI classes. But what happened was I had to give myself that little time, and I had to stay consistent in the belief, first of all, believing in myself that I could do it. Because, so like how you have Kahan, so for you, he's going to be always special, no matter what people say about him, right? So similarly, like I said, if this image consulting, training or business is your baby, I would say you have to believe in that baby, no matter if anybody else believes it or not. So if you think you can do it, I think it will anyway start. And like Mr. Agarwal says, and I remember 10 years back, he told us that for any business to become better and, start growing, it takes at least 3 years. So if you can, wait till your child starts walking, talking, eating on its own, give it that kind of time, and then, you will kickstart from there.
Absolutely. I think you were bang on. And with that note, we come to the end of this session. Thank you so much, Deepti, for sharing all the valuable insights that you've shared. And I'm sure a lot of people would benefit from the kind of things that you have shared, and they would have really got a lot of takeaway from this session. We are going to be back next week once again with another dynamic personality. And till then, goodbye from myself and Deepti's side. Thank you so much, Deepti, once again for being on this platform.
Thank you so much, Suman.
And
I just want to
your
say thank
presence.
you for having me.
Yes.
And it has just been my pleasure completely to be a part of this live. It's my first Instagram live. So thank you very much for you to have invited me for this, and to the entire ICBI team for believing in me for these 10 years. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much, and all the very best.
Thank you. Bye-bye.